Let's do this. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's your co-chair Ryan here, and it's Wednesday, the 17th of February. And after a short break on Sunday, we are back live for some Wednesday night Super League. I'm absolutely delighted to say I've got two debutantes on comms tonight. First off, introduce Duggan. How you doing, mate?
I'm all right, mate. How are you? Cheers for having us.
I'm all right, actually, not too bad, and no problem at all. And we've also got Wooder. How you doing, mate?
I'm very, very, very okay. Thank you. Yeah, I am. Good, excited. Another night Super League action. Some good fixtures coming up there. I'm quite looking forward to a couple of them, and a couple of returnee Dragoneers coming back to face us and haunt us tonight as well. At the top of the show. So it'll be interesting to see if we can actually get a result, which has been quite rare.
So, I don't know if you wanted to talk as I'll stick with you, Wood. Want to talk us through what the kind of the managerial makeup has been this season? Because we kind of got told early on it was kind of a three-headed dragon. All three of you were going to be in charge, and it seemed like one manager was kind of winner stays on for a while. But then recently, it's you two seem to be blaming Hopkins for everything.
You,
So,
you were quite an advocate of Wooder behind the wheel in the early days. I think I had a couple of results. To be honest, it was towards the back end of last season. I think Jamie was umming and ahhing about whether to continue, in all honesty, with the Super League, and it was I think we sort of lit a bit of a fire under it for him again towards the back end of the season, when, you know, like the back end of last season, or the previous version of Super League, he had his strike force that just couldn't fire. He had Shearer, Owen, Robbie Keane, and players like that. I think Brodzek was doing all right for him, but, you know, in flittering spells. But yeah, I think we lit a bit of a fire under him, and then I think when the next sort of draft came round, we were all sort of all in. I think it's evolved a bit. I don't know if Duggan wants to talk a bit more about how it's evolved. It started off very much a winner stays on, but we did win very many, so there was no opportunity for us to stay on. We carried on not winning any, and I think Duggan, you know, across Twitter and things, we were saying about all these, you know, chairman meetings and all that kind of stuff. And I think I think emergency planning meetings and all that. And I think Duggan, in the end, we kind of got together and said, yeah, Jamie, probably about 3 or 4 games ago, we said, we're not going to mess around now with any of the squad selection. Hopkins, this is on you. But we're here for some sort of advice, and guess what? We seem to have put, like, well, I wouldn't say I was going to say a couple of results together, but we haven't really.
One win and a draw.
Yeah, we better than we have been doing it. I mean, the win was quite dramatic. I think the 5-3 against the Bostock, was it?
Gazelles, yeah.
Gazelles, sorry, yeah. And then we had an 89th minute goal disallowed Batistuta last game, so. You know, it could have gone either way. To be honest, Duggan, I don't know if you want to talk about the general sort of Dragons campaign.
Well, yeah, what's gone wrong, Duggan? You tell us what's gone wrong.
There's been 3 of us involved, being totally honest, mate. That's what's went wrong. Like, I think to be honest, we were chuffed that Jamie got us involved, because we've watched it for a while now. But Jamie couldn't have picked 2 worst people to be co-managers with, because, you know, anybody that knows us probably knows we agree on absolutely sweet FA, and we play the game in very, very different ways as well. So for Jamie having to kind of like decide which way to lean, if it was, you know, 4 at the back, or 2 at the back, or 3 at the back, or 3 AMCs, and I think it was funny to start with. Like, it was funny taking the piss out of each other when we were losing and stuff. But then very, very quickly, when you're tanking and you shouldn't be tanking, it was kind of like, all right, yeah. And Hopkins, you know, I think he did admit he takes it a lot more seriously than we do. So we felt a little bit harsh on him. So we've kind of taken a little bit of a backseat and just said, yeah, we're here for the crack, and we'll kind of jump in if you're busy, because he works quite kind of long shifts, sometimes through the nights and stuff, so he can't always be available on comms. But yeah, we absolutely shouldn't be 14th. Interestingly enough, I think us and Haggis have probably had the worst performing squads all season relative to what we started with. So
Okay.
I think it's a little bit like I think Haggis have been really unlucky with some of their big players as well, and I think we've had a couple of absolute superstars stinking the place out. I want to release Oliver Kahn. I want him. Honestly, he's an absolute joke.
Do you not think it's anything to do with the defence, though? I mean, I kind of
Yes.
mentioned it on comms last week, and I
Yes.
look at the different teams in the league, and you've got Ibrahim Said, who's a DMC, very good player, but a DMC, and Taribo West, who's the best player you can get on a free. But let's be honest, how many good players can you get on a free? So I mean, you look at, let's just pick another team at random, and Fulchester here, and they've got, I say, Litos, Valgarin, Yepes, and to be honest, I'd still probably start two of those two. That's
Yeah.
probably the worst example I could.
When the squads were drawn, that we said straight away that's the one area that's going to be a struggle, and it has big time. But Oliver Kahn putting in 4s and 5s does not help things at all.
He had a bit of better form recently, though, hasn't he? So let's hope for your sake he can keep that going tonight.
To be honest, like when you're saying about our defensive record, yeah, that defensive record has massively let us down. If you look at and compare us to, yeah. If you look and compare us to goals scored, though, you know how many we're actually bagging. The problem isn't getting goals because we've scored. You know, look at second in the table. They've scored 3. Boston, okay, they're a bit of an anomaly when it, you know, shithousery and all that kind of stuff. They've only scored 3 more goals than us this year. But we've conceded 20 more. So you know that's it totally highlights it, and I think
it's ridiculous, that, isn't it? 20 more.
Yeah. Well, yeah. But I think if you look at what's happening over at, say, Leddersford, for example, they've had a bit of a run where they've actually strung together 4 wins on the bounce now with the same back two. We've chopped and changed. I think they brought in Hugo Yagiog for a couple of games alongside Nesta, and they've put 4 together. I don't know if they played all games together, but they certainly have had consistency at the back. Yes, in the earlier on in the season, they've had perhaps that's Oglu there and whoever else filling in. But we have chopped and changed so much that
they played one at the back for a while as well, didn't they?
Hopkins got the result with West as well, didn't he? We went one at the back, which nearly absolutely changed the world. We went one at the back. I can't remember who we got the result against when Hopkins pulled it out of the bag.
I think a lot. Yeah. Just comparing that to Leddersford, have obviously put 4 wins together on a bounce. They've had consistency in their lineup. That's created that, and I think that's one of the reasons why we sort of said to Hopkins, although, you know, playing Kaka and whatever isn't for everyone. Paul Bosvelt, I'm hoping he's in tonight. He should have been in tonight, but I don't know.
Paul,
we'll soon see.
I can confirm that Paul Bosvelt comes in. I can definitely say already that tonight we're not going to have an issue with dead air, so that's really good to hear. Usually I'm going to prompt people to speak. It's going to be the other way around tonight. So quickly before I go into the games, gents, any games or any results from on it was last Wednesday now which kind of stood out? Obviously you guys got a 2-2 at home to the title challengers Sloths, but any other games that stood out for you?
So the Slots game, as I was saying, we're not going to dwell on it. You've obviously told me to avoid talking about it, but 89th minute cancelled goal, Batistuta with 3 points running away with it, and you know we're an informed team and we're looking to climb the table, but yeah, that's unfortunate. Has they not even mentioned that in the comms, have they? In the match report?
Yeah, they did.
Yeah, Lee Bow, you're offside.
Yeah, he's been in and out, but yeah, I think the game this week, that's obviously, I think it's a big one at the top of the table, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it's kind of the Devils Boston should be an absolute cracker tonight. Leddersford, Bostock, and also to a lesser extent, or maybe the same extent really, Gazelle Sloth should be a big game with playoff connotations as well. What we're doing then, we'll talk about the game which has, I think every game's got something slightly from it, but for Churchtown, it's pretty much last chance saloon for the playoffs. So let's start there, and with Kieran's lads. A lot of people kind of pick this team as pretty much one of I'd say the lesser, if not the worst squad with the worst players in the Super League. But he's had a bit of form in the middle of the season. He's had a couple of close games recently, and he's still in with a shout with 5 games to go. What do you make of Churchtown season and their lineup tonight, Duggan?
Well, I'd snap his hand off for whatever tactic he's got defensively, because he doesn't. He's never really massively out of games. Always manages to keep himself in there or thereabouts. You know, maybe sometimes doesn't get himself over the line. Probably because Tomadeira season 1 isn't kind of going to get you maybe as many goals as some others, but he's been doing bits. Yeah, I think season 1 new squads, what he does really, really well is keeps himself in games, doesn't concede very many, and that's why he's doing a damn sight better than us.
Yeah, go on.
I love that front three. I think big fan of Aymar if you can keep him fit. Yeah, he's often carries some injuries. I don't know what his injury record's been like this year, or he's not.
It's been his form really. He's not really been injured at all. It was twisted knee for 11 days, but
if you can keep him fit and get a good, you know, the stats speak for themselves, really, don't they? But that front three, Tomadeira, I know he was fat. Well, Antonio Lopez, as he was earlier on in the season, he was firing in, but seems to have fallen off a little tiny bit.
Yeah, he did. Apart from last week, he got a goal just before the end, which we kind of said that's probably his first goal in 10 games.
Yeah.
So let's see if he can keep that going. They're up against
just on that, just quick point, Ryan, if you wouldn't mind, on Aymar. Obviously, his form hasn't been great. I think across the league, one of the really standout things for me is how poor AMCs have been in general, other than Fifey. And I think that's why he is where he is, Fifey. I think he's probably the only team that has consistently got his EMCs firing. You know, ours have certainly been absolutely awful. It'd be interesting to see in the chat what other people think about their own EMCs. But I think Fifey's probably the only person that's got a real tune out of whether it's Kewell or whether it's Ronaldinho or whoever it is. And I think that's why he scored so many.
No, I can see that, and I'm just looking at the stats there of average ratings, and yeah, Ronaldinho 7th there. But looking at the midfielders, I can't really see any attacking midfielders, central attacking midfielders, should I say. So I think you may have a point there.
And who's been thrown in the assists? Because is it Z Roberto? Because I think he's about 10 ahead, isn't he, or something? Yeah.
Right. Let's have a look at the opponent tonight. Wooder, if you want you want to dissect Aster's season, it's another team down the bottom with you guys. Had a win last time out though against Dudley Hill. What's gone wrong for Al this season, and what can he do to change it?
I'm unsure. I mean, he's stuck with this now for a couple of weeks, hasn't he? This formation, and the narrow formation. There was a couple of teams started. Well, we were particularly one of the teams that started with a narrow formation. Very quickly was shot down by my other two co-managers to bring in the wide players, and we had some success bringing in Zauri and Baumer. Shevchenko in the AMC role, unsure. I think there might be talks of poaching him at some point. But I'm unsure, because really on paper, Kaluzhny, Rui Costa, great players. It's just the consistency, because Aster could turn up. I think, did you say they got a win last week?
Yeah, they won last week against Dudley Hill, which is,
that's not hard, is it?
Dudley Hill season. I don't think the Dragons bosses can be charged.
Yeah. So yeah, there's some players in there that I think could probably. We give him Gareth Southgate. We didn't give him, but we transferred Gareth Southgate earlier on in the sort of season. He's out injured, unfortunately, but yeah, it's just lacking sort of consistency. I think I think generally across the league, anybody can beat anyone on the day. An 80, 90-minute winner. I'm not bitter about it at all, like getting disallowed last week, but anyone can beat anyone. Just hasn't worked. Have I crashed?
So I think it was me that crashed. I do apologise.
Have we crashed? I can hear you.
No, I'm back now. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Sorry, I think my earphones have been a bit dodgy tonight, so I might just take them out in a second. But let's not worry about that. Do you want to give us some predictions on this? And I can just read out a few that are in the chat. So Fifey's gone 3-1 to Churchtown. Scott's gone 2-1, as has Mr. Edwards. Alf and Greavesy gone for 2-1 to Aster. Nice mix in the chat. What are you guys going for? Wooder.
I'll go home win and the Tomadeira goal.
home win and Tom Madeira goal. Duggan, something you agree with?
Home win, I think 2-0 Churchtown, and Aymar's going to play to his biggest fan and put in a performance for Joe.
Let's see what happens then. I'll talk through this first half. It's looks like Astor started up well. I can see Shearer's name mentioned a few times, Ruby Costa as well. Shearer's had a poor season since coming across. But as I'm praising Astor, there goes Hideyatoshi Nakata, the former Wanderer, with the goal after 11 minutes. Does look like Astor Athletic are definitely in this game though, and that is coming to pass with Zamorano getting the equaliser. 31 minutes gone. I'd say that Astor are definitely on top here. Zamorano hitting the crossbar and Mehmet Shaw putting one in the back of the net, but it is disallowed. And there is Aymar. And there's Aymar with one disallowed. Few disallowed goals so far. Joe will be almost jumping up in joy that Aymar got a goal there. We get towards half time. And it is gone in at 1 apiece. Quick look at the stats, and as I kind of expected, really, it's been all Astor. Where's this form been from House lads all season? Just one shot from Churchtown versus the 7 from Astor. Not the best accuracy there. Action zones kind of follow in the similar vein, a lot in the Churchtown area, and Astor having slightly more possession. And a quick look at the goals. Nakata swiveled on the ball. Kaluzhny going past him, and then to Nakata with a left-footed strike, and then Mehmet Shaw cross with Zamorano header. I won't delve into the disallowed goals, but it looked like offside decisions were to blame. Duggan, a good start for Astor.
Yeah, really good start. Now, what will be interesting here is this is Churchtown. I think there's been games where they haven't really been in it, but they've still managed to not go behind and not concede when they've conceded so many chances. This has got Churchtown, 2-1 written all over it. Alf will be gutted he hasn't taken chances because he has created lots. There was a lot of orangey blue there, but yeah.
You still there? Yeah.
Yeah. Did you hear?
Sorry, I'm just yeah. I mean, I'm kind of
yeah,
nervous.
to be honest, he didn't really finish that sentence very well, did he? He kind of went, yeah.
Sorry.
It's kind of, it sounded like he was going to say something else, and I was like, what?
Alf, let us know if you want any subs, mate. And I'll let Wooder talk through the Churchtown first half, and those defenders look like they're doing the job so far, or John Terry especially.
Yeah, I mean, I said Tom Madeira goal, and listen, the fact that he's touched the ball or passed the ball 5 times does not rule him out the game because he's Tom Madeira. Do you know what I mean? He can in the second half score 2, 3, if he wants to. Yeah, the defense has been really good.
Just noticing that Shevchenko's coming off at half time for Marco Del Vecchio. Do you agree with that one? Come back to haunt Alf, maybe?
No, I don't. I don't know about Shevchenko in AMC.
Yeah, if he was up top, maybe.
Yeah. Let's continue with this game then. See what happens. See if Shevchenko can do the business. And it's started with a lot of orange and blue. Again, Mehmet Shaw and Rui Costa in the ball, and there is Marco Del Vecchio coming on and
played Alf.
Yeah, Alf with the correct decision at half time there. Half an hour to go. It looks like it's still Astor in the ascendancy, but a bit more blue and white coming into it now. Nakata involved quite a bit, as is Mendes de Silva. They need a goal soon though, with just 10 minutes to go. Aymar involved, but yeah, penalty. There we are. And Joe Cole has equalised. 5 minutes to go. Is that going to be enough for Churchtown to keep up their playoff charge? So maybe not. It has finished 2-2. They've come into it a little bit in the second half, Churchtown. A lot more even up there in the first half, but Astor still a few shots away. Similar vein with the action zones. Goals. Zamorano has the ball to Del Vecchio, turns and drives, and then we kind of the second half of the second period really was Churchtown's where they came into it a lot more, and it was Nakata brought down by David Seaman in the area, looking maybe to not be a red card, and then Joe Cole, maybe an unselected penalty taker, puts it in. So
Ashley Cole, yeah.
Ashley Cole, even here I say. I just get on a kind of wave of talking and this thing. Right, let's talk. Duggan, you talk about the home side at the end of the game there. Solid performance overall, but not enough really. But they needed the win.
Not enough creatively. Obviously, back into the season business end, you need to be scoring goals. You need to be creating chances, and I don't think he did. However, I think going into the game, he probably wasn't expecting a home win. No disrespect to Alf, but based on that, he'd be chuffed to get away with a point, and that's what Churchtown do. They stay in games, they get points when the stats say otherwise.
I'm all carrying a knock there, is he?
Yeah,
It
looks like it,
looks like he's about to be ruled out, doesn't it? After I've cursed him there. I think the way the game went, I think Churchtown will be happy with coming away with a point there. I think Astor dominated first half, and a lot of Orange, up to the second goal of Astor's second goal, and then I think, yeah, you're right. The last sort of 20 minutes, 25 minutes, where Churchtown came back into it, they did well to rescue it.
Yeah, I mean, Astor have coming down there near the end, conceded quite a lot of goals. 39 goals, probably the second most in the league. Another 2 tonight. I think that might be included actually. Do you reckon you guys can catch up to them, or is it? I mean, only 3, maybe 4 points behind now. I don't know. Is that beyond you guys, or
I'd be disappointed if we didn't.
disappointed if you didn't? So, Alf, they're coming for you.
It's going to be disappointed then, isn't it?
Next up, as I promised to my good friend Jens, we're going to go to Northern Burn, and we the Northern Burn versus Fools Vikings game. Another team which were kind of rock bottom all season. Northern Burn just started to get a little bit of form recently. It's kind of been a player who went to the transfer market has then changed things around. He brought in Sylvester, Henri, Gattuso, Robin. Maybe let go controversially Crespo, Alex Shearer, players that you don't usually go after selling. Wooder, let's start with you, mate. What do you reckon of Ian's lads here, this lineup
Yeah,
tonight, and generally the business he's done this season?
yeah. I think early on in the season, for whatever reason, in a moment of madness, started picking on Mattia Kesman because people were getting on the back of Batistuta. That was early on, and he's proven to be 9 goals is a decent return, I think. What stands out for me with Northern Burn is the back three really solid. Udesi and Samwell and Toldo, making up that back three. I really like them. Although his stats don't look that great there, do they? But no, really solid.
From the last Super League, I mean, I had Udesi season 1, didn't play him at all and let him go quite cheap end of the season. Then I think Maka took him up at Panathinaikos and played him every game, and he was getting averaging above an 8. So I think he's definitely his stats don't look great there, but he's definitely a season 2 player, and I think Ian's only going to benefit from giving him a few games towards the end of season 1 where it's going to help his development a little bit.
I've had some saves where Udesi turns into an absolute monster, and I think that's probably the point I'd make generally about Burn. They look like a side that are going to get better as the save develops. They've got players in there that grow with the game. Obviously Robin probably the most standout. Although interesting that Robin and Henri probably for me are kind of in the wrong positions relative to each other.
Yeah, Greasy said that in the chat as well. I've just double checked there why you've been talking, and it's definitely right though. So. It is an interesting decision. I think the idea is that Henri's had so much success in AMC this season. Ian's been kind of like, let's stick him there and see what Robin can do up top. Duggan, do you want to continue? I mean, an injury or suspension-stricken Hools they've lost 2 defensive midfielders, in Ambrosini and Di. Ian Hart also suspended. Have Hools surprised you at all this season? Is this or is this kind of 5th in the league? Ready to kind of try and secure that playoff spot? Is that where you expected them to be?
So yeah, I love the Hool side. 4 at the back always makes us happy. And I think if you talk to people who've watched Super League for a while, they'll say he's got too many players that haven't cut it at the Super League. And you aren't going to do it for him. But I think he's proved a couple of people wrong with the likes of Nicky Ferenko and Sigalko, who previously have been said don't do it or don't turn up in the Super League. And I would like to see Jens win the full thing, I reckon.
Is that what you expect to, or you'd like to? I think there's a few people.
I would like him to. I would like him to. Yeah, I would like him to.
Right. Okay.
I would expect Fifey to.
You'd expect Fifey to. What's that based on? His team or his management?
Definitely his team.
Right. Gents, if you want to maybe give us some predictions in the chat, and we'll kind of see what the kind of the crowd are expecting tonight. Looking at the league table, obviously Hulls would prefer to be playing the Northern Burn team from maybe 4 or 5 weeks ago when they weren't in form. Hulls generally in maybe a slightly precarious position just in the playoffs. They've got a few people chasing them down. Maybe not Churchtown after that draw tonight, but definitely Gazelles and Bostock after that top 6 spot. Yeah. What do you guys reckon tonight? What do you reckon to this one?
So I think Hulls, and I think Nicky Ferenko's assists need a bit of a boost. So I'm going for a Nicky Ferenko assist and Hulls without reply. So clean sheet.
Nicky Franco getting the victory. Duggan, what do you reckon, mate?
I think the players that Jens has got missing tonight are probably just a little bit of a stretch too far against the Northern Burn side that have done well over the last couple of weeks. So I'll go that 4 across the DMs to dominate and 3-1 Burn.
3-1 Burn. So both going in different directions for this one. Jens, obviously, as a lot of managers do, they always back the opposition. They come with a 3-0 Burn. Alf going for a draw. Steve Wright of Dudley Hill going for 2-1 Northern Burn. Let's have a quick look at this London Devils chat who keeps popping up in there.
Yeah, he's having a go at you.
Sound the Ryan offers cheap jive. Sound the Ryan offers cheap jive at Fifey Claxon.
Yeah, sound the klaxon.
Oh right, he's
Sound the klaxon. You've offered a cheap jibe at him, yeah.
Yeah.
I think play the violin more is like.
Yeah, I mean, I'll have to say it again. Like Fifey, it's the first season he's had the game. I think that kind of, and he's gone from 14th to first, so I think that kind of tells
He's
you
having a
everything.
go at you Waitrose again.
I don't think there's a Waitrose in Bolton, so I don't know what I got. Right, let's kick this one off and see what we got. I'm pretty sure there isn't. I have no idea where the Waitrose is, if there is one. Looks like a lot of black and white starters off. Nicky Franco, Van Nistelrooy involved. Liverani's seen his name mentioned a few times. Ian Robin involved as well for Northern Burn. It's like both teams getting a few chances away. Paredes, I think, making his debut in the Super League for Hulls Vikings in defensive midfield for the injured NDI. Kesman scooping one over. Van Nistelrooy volleying one wide, half an hour gone. Both teams having chances. Seen Henri have one there. Looks like Northern Burn are coming into the game a little bit more as this goes on. As soon as I said that, it was just a wall of black for ages. But we get to half time goalless.
It just seemed busy, didn't it? It just seemed busy.
It looked like there was going to be a goal, in my opinion. But I mean, 5 shots on goal isn't a huge number in the first half of the Super League. Who's slightly edging it, but not by much. Action zones, I'd say, relatively tight, and there's nothing really to look at in the stats. Don't want to dwell on this too much. Do you want to talk us through the Hulls first half, would it?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I think looking at the sort of the breakdown of shots, Nicky Ferenko, Van Nistelrooy, Segalko sharing them. You know, that's to be expected, really. Paredes doing a decent job there, covering in for Ndai. I would have personally, don't ever take any tips from me at Champman. I would have liked to have seen Liverani probably drop into that DMC role. But what do I know? Because I really rate Liverani, but we're bottom of the league, so are you giving them a compare, are you?
I'm just doing this out of my own interest because I'm a big fan of Paredes. Yeah, and it's kind of what I expected, so I understand why Jens has gone with that, really. He's kind of got, it's all Liverani in the midfield, second midfield winger, but Paredes just seems to do that job in defensive midfield for me. It's the marking. I don't know. I mean, considering he's a player which you can pick up, I mean, relatively cheap at Porto, Paredes, one I go to quite a lot.
Absolutely. What do I know? Absolutely backed up there with the cold hard stats. Cheers for that, Ryan.
Alf telling us that there's a Waitrose in Preston. That's good to know. Duggan, it's pretty much a similar story for Northern Burn, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it'll be a question of out of his front three and his back four, Jens's back four, who puts the 8 on the 9 in. I think that tips it.
Yeah, I think Jens's cryptic message of the Andes bomber Are we going with Claudio Pizarro, the Andes bomber? Can't be no. Am I just talking at my arse there? Would you say that Pizarro's the Andes bomber? I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyone?
Jens
You
has
got
said
any
yeah.
others?
Jens has said yeah.
I just double checking there. Ian's going no changes at all. So let's kick off the second half and let's hopefully have some goals or a penalty or a red card. It means something. And we've got a goal after 47 minutes. It's that man Thierry
Tell you
Henry.
what, he's been firing them, hasn't he?
He's had a really good season. I mean, that's 6 goals plus another 5, so that makes him 12 if you include.
Ryan, you've done the click when
Did
someone
you not
scores.
get told off for clicking on Henri last game?
Yeah.
I do apologise, Ian. Can't believe. I mean, I forgot that, but you two remember.
He's gonna snap a ball with his legs now.
I'm saying that now, but it's 90 minutes gone, and and Nottingham Burn have done it. 1-0 to the Burn. That second half seemed to absolutely fly by. And yeah, similar, relatively even. Maybe, I mean, Northern Burn just edging it on shots on target, but a few wasteful efforts from Bulls Vikings, which kind of piles the pressure onto himself now. Not too much to report there. Let's hope the goal went in. And it's Sean Davis passed the ball in the air for Henry, who headed the ball towards the goal. And yeah, just let's look at Northern Burn first. Look at that. That's a world class team performance, isn't it, Duggan?
Yeah, it is, and I think, like I said, the four DMs across the middle have all played really well, and Henri's got the 8 to get the winner.
Henri's been on fire. What's his sort of previous sort of form been like?
Yeah, well, he's 12. It's 12 goals this season. He got a few at Astor, but it was after Astor had agreed to sell him that he started scoring. So he got the 5 there for Astor, and he's got 6 there plus 1 more tonight. That makes it 12. He's having a really solid season, both at attacking midfield and up front.
I mean,
he's actually
I spoke
got
about
the Super League pedigree as well. I mean, he got the winner in the final a couple of years ago against Valen for Phoenix, and he was in the final for Panathinaikos last season. So I mean, he's a big game player, and he's always there or thereabouts. So I mean, I can understand why Ian's gone for him and picked him.
How long's Ndayo for? How long's Ndayo for Huls, Ryan?
Ooh, let's have a quick look. 10 days, so it might not be too bad. So if he's got this, so he'll miss the next one, but he'll be back for Churchton. But yeah, I agree, he's a really key player for them, isn't he? Is that? Do you mean that's the next question really for Wooder? I think is not a terrible performance from Bulls, but they didn't get the goal tonight, and it kind of they put pressure on themselves.
Paredes are continuing to piss on my chips, really. Yeah, totally did a really good job in there. That's a game on Champman that you could play again and could go the other way. Do you know what I mean? Talk about Northern Burn. I mentioned at the start, Hulls have obviously got to try and sort of break through the sort of the trio that I mentioned beforehand, and they've been absolutely solid. So Toldo, Udaisy, and Samuel, throwing in solid performances, man of the match performances, and then the Hull side, you're obviously looking for your Sigalcos, your Pizarros to try and break that down. They're coming up against a bit of a wall, so I wouldn't say it's necessarily a sort of bad performance from Hulls, because that would be unfair, but they're coming up against solid.
I would also mention there, I don't think I picked up the pre-game, but he's got Steven Gerrard injured and Gattuso, who's been in absolutely abysmal form. So he's kind of there. You'd assume would be his first choice DMs really, but he's had a bit of confidence there and gone with Sean Davis, who's been solid all season. To be fair, considering where Northern Burn have been down the bottom of the league. And
did he get the assist? Did he, Sean?
Oh, I don't know. Milan Petkov as well is another one. The assist.
He was involved.
Yeah. It was John Davis Cross, wasn't it? So yeah, he's been a big player for them. And Petkov, maybe not as fantastic, but yeah, he's not been a bad player really. Maybe not too big names come in. So having a quick look in the chat. Ian said he's never had so many passes. David Beckham, no tackles. Telling Jens to have a word. Jens calling David Beckham a lazy bastard. Let's continue though and see where that gets us. Fixtures 1, 2, 3. I think we're going to go to Dudley Hill, to the Dudley Hill versus Fulchester match, and see what that brings us. D Wright last time out defeat to Astor, just when he was getting up a bit of a head of steam, thinking he was going to make a late charge for the playoffs, kind of wrote him off. He's thrown the rulebook out the window tonight and gone narrow Duggan. Dudley Hill. Was it yourself or Wood who kind of had a sly dig at them before?
I wasn't having a sly dig.
No, I think you said that Steve was useless and that you a blind man could have got him from the front.
Listen, I did. If I did, stop. But no, all I said was, and I think Steve alluded to it when he was on the comms. He was saying they've lost too many games. You know, I think they've lost. I think there's only one other team that's lost more than Dudley Hill all season, and it's you guessed it, the Dragons. So I think Steve alluded to it, and I think he's disappointed that some of his games could have turned into, if you turn 5 or 6 of them losses into draws, well, you've got 5 or 6 extra points and you're a couple of places higher in the table. So just losing games, that I wasn't having a dig at him. I wasn't saying he was useless. I was just saying he's lost too many games.
Specifically said, I mean, Dudley Hill are useless. I mean, I can't believe that we're not ahead of them. I'm milking a bad joke here, so let's go. What do you reckon of the lineup tonight? I was thinking that he's brought he's Gugu in, who's been a bit poor when he's played. The last couple of games though. The other one I kind of want to mention is John Otaka, who making his debut, I think, in the Super League, and to be honest, to me, looks a bit abysmal. But
who is he? Where's he from? Just Dudley Hill.
Yeah, he will have been.
I've got no idea who he plays for.
If someone can tell us who John Attacker plays for, I don't know. I can tell that bit. But what do you reckon of his stats? Is he someone you expect to pull up some trees tonight?
No.
I think to be fair to Steve, he's probably looking, thinking, a few big players have let him down. He had some big names in that first draft squad, massive names, and I don't think they've really turned up. So I think he is just, fuck it. Let's have a look for next season really, and just see what I've got kicking about. Did he play in that role last game as well, Ryan?
Ooh,
he got champed. I would say he got champed by the king of champing. Are you talking about? No, sorry, I thought you were talking about Fulchester. Are you on Fulchester there?
Fulchester they were very unlucky. Really, they hammered Locomotive, but only got a point.
It's Locomotive for you though, isn't it? All over. It's not uncommon that happens against Locomotive.
I'm sorry, I can't remember who I asked last about Dudley Hill, but can the other person talk about Fulchester for me, please?
We'll just talk over each other anyway, so don't worry about that. Yeah, you want me to go? I mean, great balance. I think it's a great balanced squad. I love Igor Biscan in there. I think he's really great. Veron obviously is Veron. Saviola and AMC, I think it works. Vasilyuk, you can get a song and dance out of him. Absolutely. I think he's had previous success in previous Super Leagues as well. Gigs on the wing.
He won it with Haller many a moon ago. Vasilyuk, he's definitely a player that there's definitely quite a bit of Super League pedigree.
Yep.
Do you like the symmetry? That's something I kind of put tonight. It's kind of double symmetry, isn't
it? Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Yeah, I love the balls of it. He's basically playing, 3 at the back, and then the rest are bombing forwards. If you look at them players, they're all players that aren't really going to put their foot in. So I love the balls. I click on Burak Okan. I don't think I've seen much of him.
He's squad number 50, is he?
What is he squad number? I don't know where that is.
It's at the top.
Yeah, number 50.
Just there inside. Yeah.
Yeah, sorry, I'm all over the shop. Okan had a bit of he started the first few games for Macca, then he's been dropped, he's been in the reserves, and he's brought him back up again now. think the other person I mentioned is Louis Zhao, who's not played all season. He's a South American lad. Obviously, he's had players like Fausto Rossini who've come in and not done the business. Saviola doing it from AMC rather than up top. Comandini's played up front. Michael Owens played 7 games without a goal. Obviously, a player who kind of consistently underperforms in the Super League. Jimmy Nat, I mean, I think most people would agree, one of the players of his generation, especially at the early part of his career.
With Ballon d'Or winner, isn't he?
Yeah. But yeah,
Was it this year that he won it? Was this the year he won the
I
Ballon
think
d'Or?
it was actually,
Like,
yeah. 0102.
0102.
Someone in the chat will definitely know that and correct us if we're wrong. But I'll look at those too. Let's have a few predictions in the chat, and let's have a quick mention for this horrific Fulchester away kit. That must be a third kit. Is that shit brown and grey?
I think it is. Yeah, I think that's what when he was submitting his squad at the start. He went, "Can I have shit brown and grey, please?"
I can only. It must be his third kit. I'm not saying that anyone's gone for it. He must have a yellow away kit. Champ Mega Horse has said it's Michael Owen Ballon d'Or in 2001. Any predictions from you, gents? Duggan, who are you going with?
I think the Fulchester have probably got the balance between cancelling out that Dudley Hill narrow formation, and I think Giggs just getting a free pass down that left wing is probably gonna do too much. I'm gonna go Fulchester 3-1.
Fulchester 3-1. Potato Mourinho going 4-0. So quite a few people going for Fulchester in the comms. Can't see anyone apart from Macca going for Dudley Hill. What do you reckon?
I reckon Fulchester, Igor Biscan, man of the match.
Igor Biscan.
I really like him.
Is that the Liverpool connection there, mate?
Yeah, well, yeah.
And he's just class on the game, isn't he?
He is really good.
Solid. And gets better as well, doesn't he? In my opinion.
Yeah.
It's just a bit of back and forth so far. I've seen quite a bit of Fulchester. Then it went to Dudley Hill. Buffon collecting the ball there. Occan involved a lot on the right hand side for Fulchester. I saw a banana shot there, I think, from Roberto Carlos. Rivaldo bringing the ball forward. Occan putting it wide. Maybe the wide players doing the business for Fulchester. But as that half went on, we've got another 0-0 at half time. I was a little bit challenging to talk about too much about. Yeah. Pretty shit for start, really. Dudley Hill having the better of it. 3 shots on target to Fulchester's none. Look at the action zones, and it's actually in Dudley Hill's area. So it looks like Fulchester having a lot of the ball but not creating too much, even though the possession stats suggest that it's been 50-50. Nothing in the match report. Disappointing first half for Macca. Duggan?
Yeah, probably to do with how many creative players he's got in the middle. They probably just need to get their foot in a little bit more. But second half, anything will happen.
Indeed. Macca, let us know if you want any subs there. Wooder going up the Fulchester. Obviously, not a big Dudley Hill fan, Wooder. Is that a fair point?
Yeah, Steve's a good lad. I've just winded him up a bit. He's already pulled me off. He's already said. Yeah. He's already pulled me up for saying for the predictions. He hasn't pulled me off, not yet. The night is young. No, he pulled me up for saying that we both predicted a Fulchester win. So thanks. But I think when we were on, rightly so, probably he predicted the Dragons lose because, what else can he predict? But
yeah. And looking at it across his first, I've not got any subs so far from either of the lads, but no one's really putting a shift in for either team really. All the players for both sides in the high 90s.
I'm surprised he's gone with Viduka because he's obviously the sort of the Leeds connection. He was umming and ahhing over Viduka. He sort of tried and put him in and took him out, and I'm surprised he's gone with him tonight.
Indeed. Macca
and also as well
team stats before, so I'm going to put him back on.
The reason why we predict a stay right loss is because his reaction, his post-match videos are the best. Like last week, he was basically, it wasn't even him, it was just his hoodie there. You couldn't even see him. And I think like by the end of the season, we're just going to get to a pair of socks there, just talking away, saying how shit his team are.
Yeah, maybe Do you remember the game Theme Hospital when you used to have people's?
Don't.
Oh, mate, it's a sore subject. Team hospital between us.
Don't. Honest to God.
I was
It's
going to mention
impossible.
the invisibility mode or invisibility illness that you used to have in that, and you used to have a hat and some glasses walking around, but you couldn't actually
Yeah.
see the person.
Yeah.
That was my analogy of Steve Wright there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
I think there's
that's
some
the
subs coming.
Sorry?
I was going to say, I think there's some subs coming in. Is Owen coming on? Is he?
Michael Lynch coming on for Vasilia, Lucas Tony's coming on for Viduka. I'll kick off the second half, and if there's not much action, you can tell us why Theme Hospitals are so subject.
I don't really want to. We don't want to explore this. This is like a personal thing.
Okay. Looks like Dudley Hill has started strong, though, and Lucas Tony's got the goal on 58 minutes.
That's a miss.
And Saviola.
Here we
has
go.
he?
Oh.
Saviola have him on missed out, and I mean, after Hull's getting beat before, this could blow the playoff race wide open. And John Otaga on his debut, I was told that he's come from some Egyptian club, but
Ismaili,
that's the one. Louisa, is that a little bit too late? Is it too late? No.
Oh, Steve Wright. Oh my God.
Wow. So Dudley Hill won the game.
Get your socks, lad. Get your socks.
Oh my God. That is incredible.
Two shots on as well.
So yeah, after 90 minutes, Fulchester thought, let's have a shot on goal. And both times they did that, yeah, they scored goals. I can't actually believe that happened. Tony and Attacker put in the goals in for Dudley Hill. Let's have a look at how those went in. Tony ran past Biscan, an individual effort there, well played, look at Tony. Ronaldo found John Attacker, who got past Veron. John Attacker schooling Veron there, brilliant. But then on 90 minutes, Luizao with a solo run, low drive, gets the goal, and then Okan goes past Dalmat and puts it into Michael Owen to get his first goal of the season. Match stats say it all, really. It was pretty much Dudley Hill. Although it was in a lot of the Dudley Hill area, but it was Dudley Hill's with the efforts on goal until the 90th minute. And then Fulchester have broken Dudley hearts. Wooder, I'll let you continue your dissection of the Dudley Hill outfit.
I was going to say, we could have missed that talking about Theme Hospital. No, listen, that can happen to anyone. 2 goals in the 90th minute. Greavesy had called it just before that Louis Zhao was going to do something. We slagged off Michael Owen at the start, but he's a Ballon d'Or winner, so he's there's always goals in there. Unfortunately, Steve, you've just been hit by Champman 0102.
Yeah, that is abuse of the highest level. I can see the Kieran Collins. That is absolutely fucking disgusting, and I tend to agree with that.
Dimble, Fifey, if you're in the chat, if you can just do a welfare call for Steve, please, mate. I'm seriously worried.
I think just on Dudley Hill though, we mentioned the unknown Ottokar before the game. Was it Ottokar we talked about?
Yeah. Ottokar from the Egyptian place.
Remember the name.
Remember the name, John Ottokar, yeah. To pop up with a goal.
Yeah.
All the people we mentioned.
Solid
it's just one of them. You're just totally unlucky there, Steve. Unlucky lad.
Colchester had kind of a lot of the ball, a lot of passes, but I say we didn't really create anything. Louisa and Michael Owen with the only shots on. Yeah, a bit of a depressing performance for them. But I mean, after being unlucky last week to only get a draw, they kind of stole a point there. That's all Macca can take the positives from that, and also Michael Owen getting off the mark as well.
If you have a little look at the chat there, 2147, Steve Wright's apologising to Macca for the Attacker Master show. And then literally the next comment is just like, my God, what? Like literally it's half a second later.
It's absolutely genius. Absolutely genius. Right. Well, unlucky to Dudley Hill and Steve, and congratulations to Fulchester. That was a big point for them in the playoff race. That will put them level with Hools. but slightly behind them on goal difference. But it still does open the door for Bostock Stanley and Gazelles to potentially put a push on them. I think we're going to Gazelles next. So that's what we'll do. They are at home to Sloths. Last time out, they got 1-1 apiece away at Hools, but it's kind of up and down season for Gazelles. I was saying with Craig and Cons last week. Yeah, it looked to be brilliant or absolutely garbage. Not too much change this time out.
To concede 5 against the Dragons, that takes some doing, doesn't it?
Yeah, it definitely does. Do you want to talk us through this 11 then, mate?
Craig, Duggan, you can take this one. You take that one,
Yeah, looks pretty solid. I like Nicholas Medina. I think he's fantastic.
First season.
Well, he's all right first season. Not great, but I think he's been all right for him, hasn't he? Seven and a bit. Okay, fair enough. Hasn't played many games though, and he's playing MC, which obviously I think is more out of necessity rather than choice. Is he rocking injuries at the minute?
It's Figo, really. He's only brought Pomadou Carr in from the reserves, so maybe
that was another.
Go on.
That was a Dragons signing towards the back end of it, with the hope of at the back end of the last season, Pomadou Carr was going to come in and totally just turn Dragons' fortunes around, and unfortunately, it was just not good.
Yeah, I mean, they've been solid all season. I mean, you look at that team and you look at that defensive line: Dede, Ferdinand, Cafu, and they've had Lucio in there. Mourinho's come in and not played badly at all. Yet the Gazelles have conceded 31 goals. It's more than all of the top 6. Do you mean you'd expect that back line to be tighter, wouldn't you?
Yes, yeah. Why is he not playing Lucio tonight? Has he had a stinker last game or something? Or
I mean, he's been not in the best of form. Plus, Mourinho came in, and I think he scored 2 games on the bounce, and then he's had 7 after that. So it's one of those you don't drop a player in good form, I suppose. But
yeah, it's fair enough. Fair enough. I do like the 2 wing backs. Like the 2 wing backs, and it'll be interesting to see if they can put service into Rowell and Clivert.
Interesting indeed. Would Spartak Sloths, the Champman Legends team, really? And you look at people like David Collins, Roberto, Neil Scally.
There's 2 sort of romantic stories with the Slots, and it's David Collins. Obviously, I think he's been putting in. He scored against us. He scored 16 goals. For someone who's in the position where he is, that's just an ultimate champ man, the sort of romantic story. And then obviously the player of the league on the left wing, who's 9 ahead for assists. I think I pointed him out at the start of the show. He's 17 assists. That's weird wob stuff, that like. So I think that they're the 2 sort of main ones. But then again, you look elsewhere through a squad and you think, okay, it makes sense. Scally, Totti, Del Piero, they're all top players. He's solid at the back.
He's got enough faith in Neil Scally that he lets Tom Arce go to Dudley Hill, which is an interesting one. I mean, Tomasi arguably probably one of the best players in that position on the game. He's brought in Francesco Totti, who's been okay for him. You can't knock Francesco Totti considering how terrible he was for Dudley Hill. But yeah, he's put a lot of pressure on Neil Scally now, hasn't he?
I think like I say, you struggle to not be in the playoffs, hovering around the top when your AMC's lobbing in 16 goals and your left winger is doing 17 assists, and he's the highest average rated player in the league by a long way. Sorry?
Probably in the history of the league. I don't think we've ever had anyone since I've been watching it anyway who's had 8 man of the match awards and been that consistent every single game. He's been fantastic. Any predictions
we let Collins go for Mark Kerr, didn't we?
Yeah, we sold Collins, which is just absolutely wonderful.
Is that pre-season?
Yeah. We swapped David Collins for Mark Kerr. And Mark Kerr hasn't played for us, I don't think. Bailey Bowie
The
instead.
thing is, though, would you have played David Collins? That's the thing. Would you just been like maybe a little bit too frightened to put him in? And
I think we would have, because the MCs we've got have been absolutely awful.
I think we'd have tried everyone. We have. We've tried Seedorf, Ortega. We've tried D'Alessandro. Who else have we tried?
Nedved didn't cut it. Brought back in, who's probably been a standout.
Yeah, we would have. Collins would have got a run at some point. Whether it was a consistent.
I don't think Ariel Ortega's had a run. I think you've been probably a little bit harsh on him this season, but we'll get to Dragons later on when we have a look at your boys. I see some predictions in the chat. Greaves, he's going for a 1-0 Gazelles win. Terso Mourinho going for 4-2 Sloths. It looks like this could go either way. Rob, as always, with the Super League managers going for the opposition. 3-0 Gazelles. Alf going for a draw, as he has done a few things tonight. Maka wanting a Sloths favour tonight. I've been thinking if Maka want a favour from... yeah, that's absolutely correct. Yeah, Maka want a Sloths favour rather than a Gazelles favour. So he's looking down the table rather than up it. What predictions from you guys, Duggan?
Famous last words. I think this could be the high-scoring game of the night. I'm going to go 4-3 Sloths.
4-3 Sloths. Would
I think the story of the season will continue. I think Z Roberto is going to get an assist, man of the match, and I think David Collins will probably score. And I'm going to go with Slots 3-1.
Sloths 3-1. I mean, this is definitely one game that could go out, and I really hope we get some goals in the first half to kind of get us going.
Yeah.
Looks like a lot of red started off there. Del Piero's name involved. Clive put him on wide quite early. There was that man, Z Roberto. You wonder sometimes if he gets the ball to Collins, it's going to be the big goal. If he gets it to Del Piero or Recoba, it might just fizzle to nothing. Oh, maybe an unlikely goal scorer there in Rio Ferdinand, putting one away for Gazelles, putting them on top, and he'll have those guys in the playoffs looking over their shoulder. It looks like Gazelles are suddenly on top there, and Cafu, the second defender to score for Gazelles. I guess Rob will want one before half time, but if anything, it looks like it might be a third for Gazelles. Agahawa at the save there. And it gets to half time, just 2 away from capacity, and it has been all Gazelles. 5 shots on target to 1. Kind of matched in the action zone. Actually, the action zone's potentially going the other way. 31% in the Gazelles area, just 25 in the Sloths area. Quick look at how the goals went in. It's Cafu corner and Ferdinand with a fierce shot. He must have been top of the D or something. And then Jeremy's heads the ball down to Cafu with a simple finish there. So Wooder looks like Gazelle's good value.
Yeah, I obviously, you will have heard, or the keen eared would have heard a little bit of a sigh when the second one went in, and it wasn't sort of because I don't like Gazelles. It was more that my prediction was going totally the other way. Gazelles really fancied at the start of the season with the squad they got, and looking at what they've done tonight in the first half, they're sort of playing up to that expectation now. Look at some of the things that are happening there. The sort of passing stats are really sort of high up there. Rio Ferdinand, 5 tackles, 5-1, 1 goal. Like, what more do you want from your centre half? Cafu is Cafu. You know what I mean? He's 3 tackles, 1, 3 tackles made, 3 challenges made. Just really, really good. And are you showing the runs off there? Are you?
I just had a quick look then. Yeah, 3 interceptions
Cafu.
from Cafu, and 5 runs as well. So he's such a good player, isn't he?
Even Agahawa getting in like from the front line, intercepting, so high pressing, Gengen press. You know what I mean? So yeah, I'm sure Craig will be happy with that. Going into this, and I'm sure everybody else will be happy that there's actually been some goals in the first half.
I think I tend to agree as well, and I'm just trying to work out our Sloth's safe at the moment. I think 36 points at the moment. Is that class them as safe in the playoffs? Maybe not, with the form that Gazelles are in. Duggan, Rob will be after a much improved performance in the second half. Do you think they're out of it, or have they got a chance?
I think they've got a chance just purely on how Z Roberto or Collins have been playing and with the firepower he's got. But again, AMC's And obviously, I realise that Collins has been tearing it up, but just generally, AMC's not doing it. He's went with 3, I think, and they just haven't really
to be
cut
fair
it.
to Rob, he's kind of stuck with this formation for quite a while now, and it's served him well. So
yeah, what I seen in the chat before, he said he was one of the only ones kind of. He did say he was happy with his AMCs. He says they've been great and getting the goals, but I'd question kind of if you take Collins out of that, if they really are.
Well, they'll probably need Collins and at least one other to get them back in the game this second half. 2-0 to Gazelles at 45 minutes, and we kick off for the second half, and it looked like it was
Next
more
goal's massive.
Pardon?
Next goal's massive, isn't it?
It is,
Slots
yeah.
get one.
It's huge, and Ricorba getting a chance there. Looks like both sides creating chances. Palermo, it's the first time I've seen his name mentioned all game, to be honest with you then. Long range efforts from Agahawa. Sloths need a goal now, don't we? But we know we can get 2 goals in injury time in this league, so it looks like it's going to kind of fizzle out. There's 5 minutes to go. Now the team getting the goals that they needed there, and Gazelle's actually putting the exclamation point on it to make it 3-0, and that's three defenders as well. Interestingly, for Gazelles.
Going sort of three goals there down. How does that look in terms of goal difference for the top teams? Because to lose 3 off your goal difference, when you are looking at that,
that's probably put them.
10.
Lettersford was at +10, and that's put them level with Sloths now. But I think that a sigh of relief from Greavesy and Fife at the top of the league, maybe that Sloths aren't coming from the way they was. But I think that these guys, with the exception of Gazelles, are probably a few goals behind on goal difference.
It would be useful if they did a plus or minus, wouldn't it? So I could actually figure out what was going on.
Yeah, Lettersford are level with them, and Gazelles are just one behind them now. That's after that game, but obviously we've got Lettersford. We've got the Lettersford game to come as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Let's have a quick look at these teams. Really solid performance from Gazelles. Cafu with a 10, 1 assist, 1 goal, 2 key passes.
Check his running stats out there, because he made 5. Oh, look at that.
Well, I mean, head and shoulders above everyone else in the team. Really, really solid. From Cafu.
10 interception, Agahawa. What's he got Agahawa doing there, making 10 interceptions? It's mad, that, isn't it?
Yeah, that is a really, really strange one. I mean, he's only got a 7, which I think is a little bit harsh, really. Craig will be happy with that. Obviously, he's continuing his good form. Really solid from his back line. Mourinho getting a 9. All the rest of them getting 8s, 9s, 10s, and getting goals as well. His forward players not maybe having the best game, but they've won 3-0, so they're not complaining. That's probably the worst performance we've seen from Sloths this season.
Anthony Roberto.
Wow, that's pulled his average down, hasn't it? He's gone from 8-8, 9-8-8, and now he's got a 6. Yeah,
Just couldn't put a pass together. Look, nine successful passes.
Is that
all game?
Is that a little bit of burnout?
Possibly.
Rob's
Scally,
genuinely
furious. I know Scally loves the tackle and all that, and loves the yellow card, but to have 10 unsuccessful tackles, you wonder what's gone on there, don't you?
He's lost 10 out of 11 tackles. He's lost all 3 of his headers. He has had 6 interceptions, which has somehow managed him to get a 5. But yeah, not the best last performance. Probably down there with one of their worst of this season. It keeps those players, those teams in the playoffs nice and close, but it gives an opportunity for the lads chasing to catch up. And the Gazelles have taken that opportunity tonight. Be interesting to see if that puts them in the top 6, or I don't think it will, but it'll put them near it at least. Let's move on. What have we got left? I think we've got 3 games left.
Duggan, can you stop messing on with your microphone, lad?
It's not me, mate.
It is you, honestly. I can see it in the Skype. Soz.
Anyway, it's one of you.
It's Duggan, it's not me.
We've got Haggis versus yourselves. We've got Lettersford Bostock, and we're doing Devils versus Locomotive. Shall we go to Lettersford Bostock, and then we'll go to Haggis Dragons? Let's do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, kind of rhetorical question.
I noticed all that messing on with the microphone stopped, hasn't it, Duggan?
Yeah, 'cause
Yeah. Yeah, we can't hear you anymore. That's because you messed on with your microphone. I'll take
no, it's not,
Leathersford
mate.
if you
It's
want.
not, mate. It's not, mate. It's because you're a dick.
You take Leathersford, Woodard, and that's 4 wins on the bounce for them.
Yeah, I think it was alluded to last game that they had one of the toughest run-ins in towards the back end of the. They certainly got to go away to Dragons, which is going to be the toughest game of them all. But I think it was alluded to in the chat last week that they did have a tough run-in. But having said that, if you looked at the form guide for the league, 4 wins on the bounce. I think I mentioned at the top of the show about their defensive partnership and comparing it to what we've done and changed it around. To be honest, to the informed team, I would say of the coming into a really, really good time to be the informed team. Yagiog and Nesta at the back. Why would you change that? Pat Satsoglu, great in there.
He's in good form, isn't he? He's
Montella.
maybe not who you'd expect to be in a Super League centre midfield position, but he's you can't question how he's played last few weeks.
He's played a couple of games as centre half, hasn't he? A few weeks back, like, but he did feature as one of the back.
Yeah, you can play him anywhere in this little square here in defensive midfield, centre back, right midfield. I mean, he's solid all over the place. He's not spectacular anywhere, but I mean, Hodgie's getting a good run out of him in midfield, which is good for him.
And Hersey on the left, that's not natural for him, is it? Attacking midfield, left centre.
Yeah,
doing all right, isn't he?
You can't question it really. Left only.
No, absolutely not.
9s, 8s, and 7s. Really, really solid. He's one of those who's never really someone I've gone for on Champ. But Hodgie giving him a good chance early doors and being repaid with him. He's got a really solid team. One player he has dropped is Dragons' old boy Robbie Keane, who started off the season pretty well for him, but hasn't done much recently. And he's brought Lee Chun-Soo back in, who is he's not in the best of form, but he's not had a chance in a while. Lee Chun-Soo, obviously one of Bostock's favourites, Scott's favourites at Bostock, did a job for them at Cannons last season. Do you like Lee Chun-Soo? Would you have him in or Robbie Keane?
I'd have Robbie Keane, but I saw there was a little bit of a Twitter beef before the game about Lee Chun-Soo playing. So that must have been what it was, kind of historic, who he's played for and stuff.
Yeah,
I would have neither, in honesty. But listen, I'm bottom of the league, so.
Yes, never a truer word said. Bostock Stanley going away against the informed team. Obviously, they were the early season pace setters, Bostock. He's changed his team up a bit. Zidane's been dropped, Duggan, and he's brought Eric Backer in for his debut. Do you like the look of this?
I do, but I'm never a fan of kind of one AMC behind one striker. But again, we're bottom of the league, so what do I know? But definitely, when I first started watching Super League and Zidane was getting kind of written off, I couldn't believe it. But then you see his performances, and he can't be blamed for dropping him. And even if it is Eric Backer, then somebody's got to come in and do something at some point, because Zidane's done absolutely sweet FA forever.
Yeah, it has been for a long time. I'm just going to double check that on my Twitter thingy here.
Listen, it's definitely.
It is, yes, Eric Backer is playing.
I love the Bostock team.
That doesn't look right, but whether it's right or not, it's correct. Let's look at what Fifey's saying. Always good value, isn't he, Fifey? Fifey complaining you're on last. Oh, I'll get over it. I'm enjoying how knowledgeable Wood and Duggan are on the CMSL. Also enjoying how Wood follows up every opinion, but I'm bottom of the league. That's fair enough.
I think it's a backhanded compliment, but I'll take it, Fifey.
Okay, Bostock Stanley, do you reckon these guys have got enough to worry Leathersford tonight, Duggan?
I think with the form that Leathersford have been in, I don't think that back three is particularly strong. However, I do like Lizarazu, Milevski, and Tudor sitting across the front of them. It'll be whether they can get service to Vieri, I think. Are we still here?
I am, mate.
Would have been tempted to have Joe Cole in there. What do you reckon?
I'm back.
I like Joe Cole in a more advanced position. I like the look of Bostock generally. I like Maldini. I like Mievski. I like Lizarazu. I like Tudor in there. I think he's brilliant. He's in the same bracket to me as Igor Biscan. Igor Tudor, Igor Biscan. Yeah, Vieri's always going to get you goals. For me, probably the best striker on the game from the standard start. I like it.
Yeah, sorry about that, gents. I appreciate you checking over whilst I started my mic out. Any predictions on this one tonight?
I'll go Leathersford. In form. Make it 5 on the bounce.
Wow.
Make that fifth W. I think they'll win.
I think
I think they'll have too much.
I'm a little bit thinking back, and I think Hodgie, when he was managing Ardsley Celtic in the last iteration, has actually got the longest winning run of 8 games. So he definitely knows how to put a run together when he's on one. Let's have a look at what's going on in the predictions in the chat. Mr. Edwards going for a 2-1 Bostock win. Greavesy going for 2-0. Steve Wright going 0-0. Fifey going for saying this is a tough one, but 2-1 to Leathersford. I think a lot of people's heads edging towards Leathersford. Scott obviously needs a big performance tonight. Let's have a kick off of the first half and see how we get on. It looks like Montella had a good opportunity there. Vieri as well, 2 big strikers in the game involved early on. Eric Backer having a shot, and that's
what happened there?
I think it was an own goal, maybe. I'm not too sure. And then we've had an injury.
I think it was an own goal and then an injury.
Soroczynski. I'm not seeing Hodgie in the chat all night, so we can go Soroczynski.
I think it was a Simeone own goal.
Was it? Can you still hear me, gents?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Do you reckon Soroczynski or Volodenko? I think I'm edging towards Soroczynski, looking at the. He's probably better.
No,
I would have went Volodenkov.
I would have as well.
Let's go Volodenkov, then I'll get overruled on that one.
Oh, nah, because you're
welcome to the Dragons. Welcome to the Dragons.
Yeah, you can't be seen to say that. Yeah, all right.
Volodenko, he could have been either, really, didn't it? I mean, he's both playing both positions, don't they? So, yeah, I suppose I can tend to see that one there. Yes, and we've got a Simeone on goal. So Scott with bouncing up and down, but there's a long way to go. I think he would have preferred a red card than an injury. And Eric Backer involved again. Lizarazu as well. Torres having a few efforts on goal. Josef Hersey. And we've got to half time, and it's just 1-0. Quite a low scoring first half in this tonight. Leathersford, maybe look at the stats, so it's slightly better, but it's been a very, very tight game. Just 2 shots on target to 1. Action zones pretty much split down the line. Let's have a look at what happened there. Ashley Cole got free in the penalty area. Shot high and low. The ball came off Simeone and scored an own goal. And then
this is Joe Cole, isn't it? Not Ashley.
Yeah, Joe Cole. I'm just mixing up my goals. Joe Cole. And then so it's a Simeone own goal, and Echevarria kind of came off the field injured, but it looked like it was anything to do with the goal by the looks of it. Quick look at Bostock first, as I've not seen Hodgie in the chat for a sub, so not the best performance in the first half, but he's 1-0. What a
Yes, he's 1-0. We're looking at Bostock. Yeah, sorry, I was just looking at something. Yeah, I've been picked up for my pronunciation of some of the players, so I'm gonna refrain from pronouncing some of them. It's always terrible.
Yeah, I was a bit questioning how you were pronouncing Joe Cole.
Yeah, Listen, I think Leathersford have been the better team. I think Bostock will are lucky really to have that own goal and a series of really unfortunate events for Leathersford has led to a Simeone own goal. This game it can go either way. It's in the balance for me. Obviously the stats have shown it in slight favour of Leathersford, I would say, but you can't look past the fact that they're 1-0 up. So, it's still in the balance, could go either way for me.
Yeah. I don't think we've got Hodgie about tonight, so there's no subs for them at half-time, Duggan, but yeah, maybe a slight bit unlucky to be behind at half-time.
Yeah, I think they'll turn it around. I think they've definitely played the better, and I think it'll be interesting to see if they can put one of the chances away, because they did have a couple. Torres has had a couple. I think he's hit the woodwork.
Yeah, he did that.
Montella's been garbage, hasn't he? Well, both of them up front.
Yeah, I mean they've both been in great form. I think they've scored in every game. The winning run, they've scored in every game, both of them. So I think there might be a little bit of forgiveness on the card, but I agree that both of them have not been in the game enough tonight.
Vogel's been really good for Leathersford, by the way. And he's not somebody who I would just generally across the season. He's been really, really good. And he's not somebody who I would sort of put in the bracket of top centre halves and top defenders. He's been really, really good for them.
I'd put him in the bracket of top defensive midfielders, definitely. I think he's in that Tomasi category, in my opinion. Never play him centre defence or anything like that, but I think he's Roy Keane, Tomasi, Vogel. I think they're all in that category, in my opinion.
I would just never associate him with that, and I meant to say defensive mid. I just said defense centre half. Yeah, I would never associate him with that, but obviously, he's doing really well. He's probably one of Leathersford's best players in there. So, no, credit to him.
Indeed. Let's kick off the second half and hope we get a couple more goals. I'm just having a quick laugh at Craig's comment to Rob there, saying skipping the run and going straight to the pool. Looks like Bostock started strong there. Saw Lizarazu at an effort. Lee Chan-Su involved at the minute though. Eric Bakker involved for Bostock stand there. Volodenkovic on the right hand side. There's Fernando Torres skipping past Maldini. But no goal there. 15 minutes to go. And Lee Chun-Soo, that man of the all the controversy, getting Leathersford back into it. It's one apiece. Lee Chun-Soo into the area again. Looks like Leathersford pulling on the pressure now. Last minute, can they get a winner? No, they can't. That second half, not run away with it, but definitely in Leathersford's favour. A few efforts off target as well as on target. All down in the Bostock area, they have more possession as well. Let's have a quick look at the goal, which came relatively late. And it was a Montella cross into the far post, and Lee Chan-Soo was in space. So Montella definitely comes into the game a little bit and gets himself an assist, even though he only gets a 7. Lee Chun-Soo, a 9 around the match, and the goal, deserved equaliser for Leathersford, Duggan.
Yeah, definitely. I think at half time it very much felt like if there was going to be a team that scored again and then potentially a second, it was only going to go one way. But fair play Bostock, keep themselves in it, and they come away with a point.
Look at Nesta. What a player! He's my favourite player on the game. Nesta. You can't. I think he's just unreal. I think looking at it, when you first look at the match stats, Leathersford you feel hard done by. But when you look at how the game panned out with the own goal and the injury quite early on, I think you'd be when it does settles. I know. Obviously, everyone wants to win. I think you'd be happy with a point there. Maybe it's just dragon talk. We're always just happy with the point.
Interesting that we spoke about Tudor and Lizarazu and Milevski sitting across the back, and they've all played 8 there, as well as the keeper.
It's a solid line, isn't it? I quite like this formation as well. I'd probably even just go with the 2 up front rather than the 1-2. That's me, but it's a really solid formation in my opinion. I mean, they've got the players for the formation. A position he's kind of struggled with all season is this right midfielder, right wing back. He's had Cashman out there. He's had a few. I can't even remember half the players he's put out there. Castron, I don't know. He's had a few players out there anyway. And then he's put Igor Tudor out there. He's been playing central all season, so he means he's had a solid performance, if not world beating in an 8. So he might be a kind of a solution for the problem he's had there all season. A point. I think looking at that, and then also looking in the chat, Scott saying he's happy with a point there, still well in it with 3 games at home, out of 4 to go. Considering that Fulchester only got a point and Hull's got beat, I think Hodgie will be happy with that, especially with Sloth getting beat as well. So
they go to the next fixtures, Leadersford. I think they go to Hulls, do they?
Leadersford next fixture. They host Bostock, which is tonight. I've just seen that game, and then they go to Hulls. So that's a big game.
Yeah, and then obviously they got the toughest side of them all, Dragons away coming up. So probably hoping for 3 points in both them ties, and then another couple of home fixtures. I think they'll still feel optimistic.
Yeah, it's going to be a tough running for them though. They're playing everyone in the top 6. I think we established the other time out last week. Sorry. We move on finally to Mr. Hopkins's Dragons.
Are we not doing Fifey, or we do?
We're going to finish on Fifey
because they're more important than the bottom of the table. Dragons, is that what you're saying?
Well, I think it's because it's 1v2 at the top. We kind of said it's going to be a marquee match. Plus, I'm getting a vibe off you two that you're not going to be so too down and out of it, even if you do get beat tonight. You've been such good value, gents. and you're going to be even better value now when you realise that there's no forward arrow on Ibrahim Saeed, and that Paul Vossveld has come into the lineup after myself calling for his inclusion last week. Do you guys get access to the lineup before the show, or do you just kind of fingers crossed and see what Mr. Hopkins has gone with?
No, I think we do. Yeah, we bounce it all about. To be honest, I think we agreed at the end. Paul Vossveld. I've been pushing him for a couple of weeks. We agreed at the end of last show. I think when you mentioned him that you definitely have him in, we agreed to push him in. And we can kind of guess sort of 8 or 9 of the starting 11 anyway, because I tell you what, to do a bit of analysis on Dragons, right? Bottom of the table. However, when you go into the player ratings and you have a look at what Wilfred Baumer's doing, inside of the assists, when you have a look at Batistuta and the goals, and you have a look at Zielius and their ratings in amongst the whole league, it's kind of a bit sort of like go into player ratings for the league, for example. When you have a look around and you've got Dragons Zielius, he's 14, but you don't look around and you don't see like a lot of the well, is there an Asta player in the top, for example? Is there there's an Edgar Davids in there, but he's always going to be a Dudley Hill or whatever. I think we've been quite unlucky. I think, when you look at Baumer as well in the assists chart, he's been up there, and I think he's hot property at the minute, to be honest. And Zielius had a really, really strong season. For me, conceding 47 goals, obviously swapping Collins for Kerr. I think individual errors, Oliver Kahn in the gusty day. If Al's still in the chat, he'll tell you all about the sort of wind and the rain. I think we've been the unluckiest team in the league, but also the worst team in the league.
Unlucky, obviously, and worst in the league. And the positions that in this season's window, you kind of stopped short of doing all 4 transfers. You brought in Archie back and Luciano Zeri. You lost Nedved and Helguera. A lot of people might have asked questions at getting rid of Nedved. Obviously, a big marquee player. Did you not look at bringing in a central defender? Obviously, you're playing West and Saeed there at the moment.
Did we look at Did we look at one? Did we look at central defender Duggan? Did we look at one?
We did. Yeah. We had about 20 on a short list, and you just couldn't get a deal over the line. I think probably the highlight of the season is the transfers we've done. I think back and Zowie have came in and have genuinely made the team better. But I think when you look at, I'm not fully convinced Ibrahim Said as the centre half. Love him as a DMC, but he just he's not good enough in the air in terms of winning those key headers against the big
Who'd you put in there
strikers.
then, Duggan? Who'd you
I would
put
have
in
put
there
Ronnie
then if it's
Johnson
not
in. I've
Said?
said this 100 times. Oh, in
Who'd you put who
DMC
in?
in centre half, Ronnie Johnson, 100%. 100%.
agree.
Ronnie Johnson should have been starting centre half for West from the start, and I've said this 100 times.
Well, why did Marcus Babbel play about 10 games?
Because you're a gobshite and Hopkins agree.
In my opinion, gents, if what it's worth, Ronnie Johnson and Marcus Babbel are better than Said and what do you call it, and West at centre half.
Marcus Babbel better than West?
Yeah,
Come on.
definitely, 100%.
And I think
Right.
here's one for you. Here's a question for you, Ryan. So the debate at Dragons HQ, not to give too much away at the minute, is about what we do kind of in the next window. Batistuta, has he underperformed? Has he delivered? What's your thoughts? 6
Our
point.
problem is not scoring goals, mate. Look
No,
at
it's not.
the
It's not,
league.
mate.
Our problem
It's
is
not.
not scoring goals.
It's not.
So why would you get rid of your top scorer? It doesn't make sense to me.
He's a top scorer against an absolute. The goals have been spread out. Boya's got 7. Lee Boya from MC has got 1 goal less than Gabriel Batistuta. How is that a good return from someone that's played every game?
Regardless of that, mate, right? In a lighter day, black and white, right? Our problem is not scoring goals. It's conceding goals. You want to get rid of our striker. Why would you want to do that? Our top scorer. Why would you want to do that?
All right, mate. All right, simmer down. So how else do you bring in a quality centre half? You can't give them fucking Eddie Pope for a top class centre half. You're gonna have to give something to get something back in return, aren't you?
Gabriel Batistuta, I mean, in season 1 and 2, he's probably in the top 3 or 4 strikers on the game. He's had a solid season without being spectacular. Let's have a look at where
He's
he
had
is.
a solid season with a club that's bottom of the league.
But yeah, he's 8th in the top goal scorer charts. But the caveat to that is that a lot of these players are playing up front in a 2, and Batistuta's played on his own a lot of the season. I know Back's played up there a few games, but yeah, I think you would expect him to more take control and dominate a few games, which he hasn't done. He's not had a single man at match all season.
I mean, that says it all.
I think sometimes usually you get a couple of man of the matches from Batistuta and a couple of hat tricks maybe, and where he wins the game for you, which hasn't happened. And the same thing with Oliver Kahn. He's had maybe 2 or 3 good games all season, but with Oliver Kahn, sometimes you expect him to get that man of the match performance and get a champion over your opposition because he's been that good. You guys, without doubt, have been unlucky on that front. I'll accept that.
The story of our season, Ryan. The story of the 3-headed dragon has been 3 things: Oliver Kahn at the back, Gabriel Batistuta up top, and us 3 changing it about too much. That's why we're bottom of the league.
Why are you saying Batistuta, mate? When honestly, I'm just not having that because you've put him up front with Constantinou, Nikolai, Salva, D'Alessandro. You're in this, mate. Regardless of whether you like it or not, you have because we all do it together. So you put him up front with all these players, and then you go and it's Batistuta's fault, but he's been the mainstay and he's our top scorer. So what you're chatting is absolute wham.
With 8, with 1 more than Lee Boya.
Right. Let's look across at your opposition tonight, and interesting decisions made up in Scotland by Mr. Campbell. He has brought in Bobby Baggio from the reserves, 84% fitness, and put him straight into the starting lineup.
He's taking the piss out of us, or what?
He's obviously we've got that. He's got a solid back line. That midfield diamond is really strong. Larson, no one really questioned him too much. He's always been questioned all season long about his strikers. None of them have got going. I mean, you complain about Batistuta, well, Duggan might have done. I mean, he's got double the highest goal scorer from Haggis. So I mean, it's not all bad. I think what they would definitely snap your hand off at Batistuta. What do you reckon of this formation? And I mean, do you mean? And well, maybe you want to say a couple of words on Bobby Baggio. I think I've just been listening to Wood, so Duggan, what do you reckon?
I like that triangle in the middle. Mendieta, Vieira, Nedved. It'll be interesting to see what Nedved does because he done absolutely sweet FA for us. Didier Gat, I think, is underrated. He always, whenever I've kind of used him, had him, he's always put in a good shift as a DMRC or a DR. And the Baggio thing, like, fair enough. It'd be interesting to know if he's just doing it because it's the Dragons and we're shite, or if there's a genuine reason behind it. But Landon Donovan, I know he splits kind of opinion. He's, either you love him or you hate him really and don't rate him in that first season. But is it Martin that absolutely loves him, Ryan?
Martin absolutely loves him. Apparently, according to some kind of stat things I don't know anything about, but he's the second best striker on the game behind Tazalco. I don't know how that works. He came into the team after being out of it the majority of the season. I think those 4 goals came in 2 or 3 games, and he's got a 10 and a 9 in there. Then last 2 weeks he's got 2 6s, and then he's been dropped again. So he's obviously long term. He's not got the confidence in him, has he? So.
The blue waffle formation, is it?
Yeah. I won't click on any of the formations, but I'll just load up the kind of formation list of how many formations they got people. But Ian always gives a quite interesting one each week. So you get no comment, pure decking, liquid soccer ball, Mel Gibson. It always makes me chuckle that I get an interesting line.
Well, before the sort of the sort of rivalry of the match starts, I should thank Ian because I actually had him on. Did you know the show that you ran in between Christmas and New Year? Remember that?
Yes.
And you had Ian on, didn't you?
Did I? Potentially, I don't know. It was yeah.
They all
kind of roll into one.
I think so. It was one of the very rare ones that the Dragons won. And Ian was on, and I'd given presents to my family to keep them occupied so I could get the Super League on the big telly. And Ian was on the commentary, and everyone was just like, "Who's this guy? Why does he keep swearing every other word?"
Yeah, you are correct, by the way. It was on the 27th of December. I was looking at my tracker, and it was Ian and Teso Mourinho were on. That was
Yeah, it's like, why is this guy swear after every sentence? I was like, listen, just watch your new iPad or whatever. I'm watching this, and we won. So it's special thanks. It was a special Christmas memory.
So considering that you won on the 27th of the 10th, are you expecting a win tonight, mate?
Yeah. I think we were unlucky last week. I think the 89th minute Batistuta goal, which could have been made him 9 goals, which I'm not saying anything about Batistuta anymore. But I think I fancy us.
Right. I'll still look in the chat. Greaves you in 1-1. Steve, a lot of people are expecting Baggio to score. Alfred's reckon Baggio getting a goal, then injured, and finish 3-3. Dimble, even in Dimble, going for a 2-0 Dragons win. Fifey going for a 3-1 win. Duggan, you fancying Dragons or?
Lot of love for the Haggis boys, but up the Dragons 3-1.
Up the Dragons 3-1. Let's kick this one off then and see how we get on. And it's Vincent Candelar involved early on, Mendieta and Larson involved. Looks like a lot of blue and black early on, but there's Batistuta blasting one over.
It's dangerous.
Dangerous indeed. When I watch those windows. Say this. Batistuta put one wide this time, actually back. Dragon's definitely coming into it a little bit. Mendieta put one wide. Batistuta's had a few efforts in this half, I definitely say that.
He's dangerous. He's going to put one in.
It might just happen that, but it looks like it's Bobby Baggio more likely just before half time, and it's been relatively even first half. Haggis maybe slightly on top, 3 shots on target to 1, but another 0-0 at half time. A lot of the ball been down in the Dragons area and more possession for the Haggis lads. A quick look, I'm sure Batistuta had a few efforts wide, went over the bar there, that one. Smashed it wide, yeah. So Batistuta's had a few efforts there.
Dangerous, though, isn't he? Dangerous.
Dangerous. He's had 3 shots on the 1 target, and he's currently averaging a 6. But I'd still probably rather have him on the pitch than that man Paul Bosvelt, who, after my recommendation last week, looks like he's putting in a bit of a stinker so far, and he's picked up a slight knock. Looks of it. Not the best first half, lads, but you're still in the game, and what do you reckon?
You fancy D'Alessandro, Duggan?
Yeah, go for it, mate. Go for it.
D'Alessandro on for the injured Bosvelt. Potential thigh injury.
Bosvelt on for D'Alessandro on for Bosvelt in the middle of
Can
that.
you switch them with Seedorf, can you? Or is that illegal?
I think we can.
I think that might be illegal, you know.
I think it might
unless
be
it's a red card. I don't want to be.
Yeah, I don't want to mess things up. And if there's any person going to kick off for it, it'd definitely be in camp.
Well, it's these scousers and illegal things.
So yeah, you're not behind. A lot of sevens there and a couple of sixes. Not the worst performance, but not the best. The issue is you only created one shot on target. Quick look over the border to the Haggis boys, and it's been more of a mixed bag from them. A couple of eights in there for Mendieta, Salas, and Candelar. It's the issue again is really getting shots away. Only three on target, one from Nedved, Vieira, and Larson. The two strikers again, not having anything to do up front in terms of attacking. Bobby Baggio down to 74. So we're interested in whether he's going to stay on. I've not seen Mr. Campbell in the chat for a while. Can anyone confirm to me that he is about? I'm just looking up now. Yeah, he is there somewhere. Big 45 coming up here. So, if it was me, I'd be definitely taking Baggio off for Donovan. But I'm going to wait a couple of seconds to see if that is what he wants. I'm aware.
He always has trouble with his internet, doesn't he?
Yeah,
if he's not in the chat, I think he might. If he's not in the chat, I think you might force your hand there because I think he's on 74 in e-fitness. So I don't think he'll survive the second half.
He mentioned he might have a Tinder date. Have to sneak away early.
Get up the haggis.
Wang it up Wednesday. He will be out.
No wonder it's the blue waffle tonight.
Yeah. Apparently she's 27 stone or something, he said.
Same size as Steve.
Oh dear. I don't know what to do here. I can't mess it. I'm not allowed really unless I get someone from Haggis, whether it be Rockstead or Ian telling me to do this sub. I can't do it. I'm not willing to kind of just do an auto sub because it's not fair.
Is Tato not on?
Do you mean I saw him earlier on, but I've not seen him recently? No, that's the issue. I'm just having a quick look at the chat then. So I think I'm going to kick this off, and if Baggio gets injured, then we've got an easy decision to make. But it's 0-0 at the moment, and let's kick off the second half.
Up the Dragons.
Up the Dragons. It seems to be. Looks like Haggis have started strong though. 66 minutes gone. Both teams involved. Looks like Louis Saha's being crap again as usual. Seedorf involved there. 10 minutes to go. Could be a 0-0. Actually back offside. Baggio. No. 87th minute for Baggio there. Seedorf coming through with a swerving shot. No. Oh no. Heartbreak. Absolute heartbreak. As Henrik Larsson. Absolute. I'm so sorry, lads.
Honestly, mate, don't apologise. If Gabriel Batistuta could score, we'd won that game. How many chances did he have?
We'll get to that in a minute, but I think on the balance of play, Haggis probably deserved that second half. They it didn't look like it at the time. They definitely had 10 shots on target to the 3, but however, a 90th minute win is always the second half.
Oh, for fuck's sake. Honestly, where's Hopkins? Honestly, Hopkins
out.
Oh, God.
Possession, although its action zone's pretty level. Larson, yeah, it's like he's more of a solo goal there. Shoots high and low, not done much to get past Bouma and Ibrahim Saeed. I'll look at Haggis first and talk about it, and then I'll let you two dissect the Dragons. I think that's a really, really solid performance. Baggio finishing the game on 60 and Henrik Larsson much better on 76. They've got some passion in them legs. 8s and 9s across the board, really. A couple of 7s for Hoffland and Stam, but not too much creative for Dragons, which may be something in the line for that. Obviously, Ian's had a bit of a torrid season from where he expected to be, so he'd be over the moon with that win, and also getting his own back for the game on the 27th of December. Vincent Candelar picking up man of the match, and the assist coming from Marcelo Salas. Gents, start with Duggan. Is this typical Dragons? This is what's happened all season, isn't it?
Can we just pay attention to the fact that Baggio with 60 fitness has finished on an 8, and Gabriel Batistuta has finished on a 5. Honestly, what are we fucking doing here? What can you do with that? I mean, honestly, I'd love to analyse it, mate, but we're just fucking shite.
What's this? Why is Elias making 21 attempted tackles? That's absolutely mad.
Oh god.
I wonder if Steve Wright's got room in that noose for 2. Because that was awful.
I don't know, like you say, big players that we've had, your Oliver Kahns, your Gabriel Batistutas, they're just prone to just lob in a 5, lob in a 4, drop a ball, not hit the target. You know,
Oliver Kahn's probably the best player, hasn't he? 10 shots, only 1 goal conceded.
It has tonight. There's always one that lets the side down. What's our morale like?
So remember, Batistuta has been the standout. In a bad team, Batistuta has been the standout. He's been the one person doing it according to Joe, yeah?
What's our morale like, Ryan, in terms of like our squad? Is it just shot to bits? Are our players just totally just shot?
No.
No, they just don't fancy solid.
It. Yeah, I think because of the high reputation of the clubs, and the chairmen are always quite loyal. Apart from the odd bad egg, most of the players generally are quite happy just to be playing in the league. I don't know why that is. We get to our kind of the marquee matchup, and we go to the Devil's Lair, and it's first versus second. Are you all right, Matt?
Just giggling. Hopkins is on the WhatsApp to me as well. Give me shit.
Boys, you don't have to worry about my welfare, but I'm diving off. All right, I'm gonna have to dive off for the last one. So Ryan, cheers for having us, mate.
No problem at all,
if
mate.
anybody would like Batistuta just for free, you're more than welcome to him. All right, I'll even
you wanted to release Oliver Kahn?
Yeah, get rid. Fuck them all. See you in a bit, boys. Thank you, Ryan.
No worries, mate. Have a good one. I am aware that it's dragged on a bit tonight. We've had quite a few. We've had some interesting guests on. So the Devils sticking with the formation at home 4-1-3-2 that served them well all season. Moved that Ferguson position up to 3 a.m.s at some points, but as you kind of alluded to pre-show and earlier on the show, Kuhl and Aldinho probably been 2 of the marquee AMCs in the league. Obviously, not forgetting David Collins there. Top goal scorer in the league, Emilian Penza on 17, absolutely fantastic. Montero's been running the show for them at the back. It's just been a really, really solid season, and a lot of people's favourites for the league. Last time out, Fifey decided he was going to play reserves and got absolutely hammered by Laddersford. He's not repeating that tonight. He's gone back full strength, obviously concerned that he doesn't want to get on a losing run heading towards the playoffs.
He selected that. He selected Gravison on a Twitter poll. So there was debate for what was Emerson. Was Emerson's out injured? Is he?
He's tired. So he's coming back from injury, I think. So yeah, I wouldn't have played him on 64% condition.
Yeah, no, definitely not. So he went out for a Twitter poll. So Gravison's in there based on everyone else telling Fifey that he needs to go in. So, if there's anybody who wanted to potentially sabotage that, they would just vote for Gravison.
Yeah, I think this is not too far off. Obviously Emerson would be in there, but I think he's not too far off his strongest lineup. I think he's stuck with this all season. Interesting whether he's stuck with Wes Brown, 16 games this season, where Kivu's had a look in. Understandably why when you look at his match stats, but you maybe think that Kivu long term is more of a prospect than that. I'm glad to say that David Dunn's hardly played.
I said a couple of weeks ago in the chat, I think the unsung hero of the Devils, but starting to get a bit of praise is Van Bronckhorst in there. I think I put Gio Van Bronckhorst in alongside Vieira in that Arsenal team. If you manage them properly, they're unreal. Honestly, he's been so good for them. Hardly missed a game, I don't think either. As
15
you
of the
bring up the
20 games, yeah, he's played, and he did get a 5 last time out, but more often than not, he's been solid. I apologise to Greavesy. I know he sometimes has to have an early start. I'm not too sure if that's the case at the moment, but I'm afraid it's last up tonight. It's what's because you're the big
so
guns nowadays. What do you
the
make of this?
2-7-1 Dragon Slayer is his formation from
Yeah,
when I
what do you make of
threatened to
this
chop
lineup?
his beard off.
I'm just making sure I've got that right. Yeah, yeah. So that he's not
Yeah.
changed his lineup from when he played. He's not changed his formation there from say when he played Dragons, which was a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, he beat us. That was when that's what I'm saying, when I threatened to chop his beard off. But yeah, I think with the um the Boston side, you know, what I like. I mentioned them again at the start of the show when I was sort of introducing the sort of league. Having only lost 4 games all season, you know, that's great. You know, that's why they're there. I think if you were to swap Barthez with Oliver Kahn, and Oliver Kahn had his season with the goals that we've scored, you know, and I'd said they've only scored 3 more than us and not conceded and whatever, you could be looking at a different sort of position in the table for Boston. I'm not saying they'd be bottom by any stretch, but Barthez has been their, you know, he's their highest rated player overall. So, you know, if you sort of filtered their overall player stats, Barthez is their top performer. You know, and as I say, they drew 2-2 last week with 3 shots on goal or something.
Yeah.
They are. So 3 on target. So whilst I'm saying the goalkeeper, the best performing player, and all that kind of stuff, and it could be different, but at the same time, credit to Greavesy, you know, threatened to chop his beard off. He came back, he beat us. He's been shithousing it all season. Knows what he's doing, obviously, because the season doesn't lie and the league table doesn't lie. And I think he's probably on for something similar again tonight.
Yeah, maybe a couple of surprise names in there. Lucenhoff has come in for. I quite like Lucenhoff myself, but he's come in for Cannavaro, who is suspended. He's also got Lewison out suspended, so it's not his first choice centre back partnership. TMA Company only played 3 all season. Lucenhoff only made 2 substitute appearances, so that could be an issue for him tonight. Ricardinho's been his main man since he's come in from the reserves. 8 goals in 14 games, absolutely solid as a rock. Amoroso, absolutely quality as well all season. Honestly, one of my favourite players in their squad. Agbar Barsom, maybe a relative, maybe not an unknown in the champ world, but an unknown in the Super League world. He's been solid enough in the 3 games he's played this season, getting another opportunity tonight. And it will be whether the second choice Locomotive defence can hold off the first choice Devils attack.
Cannavaro's a big blow. To not have Cannavaro at the back for Boston, you know, obviously they pride themselves on shithousen, basically, as if they take pride in the shithousery, as Greasy will put it. I think he's a big blow there. So, you know, whilst you're going to ask me for a prediction now, and I've said Boston are probably going to do the same again tonight. Cannavaro's a big blow. I think there's another centre half out there that I've seen suspended as well.
Martin Lewison, yeah.
So, you know, whether that breaks the sort of shit house wall, if that's an expression, or not, will remains to be seen. I would say both teams will be happy with a draw, but I think Boston will do it.
You think Boston will do it? Not getting much love for that prediction in the chat, although not getting much predictions in, to be honest with you. Dimble and Edwards both going for a home victory. 2-0. Alf going for a 2-2 based on some research done at home. Let's kick this one off. Big game. Obviously, Fife will be chomping at the bits. Let's see how we get on. And it looks like the Devils started strongly. And Pens are involved. Christian Diaz involved on the left-hand side, maybe an unknown quantity. Ronaldinho getting past a few players. Looks like Locomotives were definitely in the game though. Inzaghi taking the ball on there.
I think Locomotive are always in the game. That's the thing. They're always in it.
they've never been blown away, have they, all season?
No.
It's quite sad they're going for a 3-1 home victory. I don't say we're going to have another 0-0 at half time here. Looks like it's going to be the flavour of the night. Both teams look like they're creating chances, but neither team are taking them. Definitely say the Devils are on top, though. Looking at this, Van Bronckhorst doing well, and then feeding Impenza, who gets the goal just before half time. Was it yourself there who was praising Van Bronckhorst, and he's just done a worldie?
Did he score? Did he?
He got the assist for
Yeah.
and he's getting a 9 in the first half.
Unreal.
Yeah, so the Locomotive defended well, but it was all Devils that first half. Yeah.
Listen, like I said before the game, Locomotive Boston are used to having 2-3 shots on goal in a half, one shot on target or whatever.
Yeah.
I just think it was a step too far with Cannavaro dropping out, Larson dropping out. I just think it was probably one too far for the old shithousery and, whatever else. They've been undone by some genius in Van Bronckhorst and the league's leading scorer.
Yeah, that's exactly it, really. I don't think it's been the best performance in the world from the Devils. Not maybe coming back after that poor performance last week and maybe too long sat on the bench. Surprisingly good performances from Christian Diaz on the left-hand side. Not someone I've really gone for, but he's done okay so far for the Devils this season. Gio Van Bronckhorst obviously did a lot for that goal, and fed in and Penta, who'd had a few games without scoring, and Fifey was worried that he'd gone a little bit cold, but he'd be happy to get back in.
Well, that'd be 18 goals in 19 games, and he was a bit worried.
Yeah.
Okay. Try having Batistuta. Yeah.
And then let's look at Greasy's Locomotive Boston, who I think Greasy will be a little bit disappointed with how that's gone for the start. It's been, as we kind of suggested from the start, it's been all Devils, only Cosmin Contra and that man Barthez keeping the minutes at the moment. Lucenhoff at a 5, Pompey at a 7. We're going to see Yondal Thomason, I think, for the first time ever. He's going to come on for Agbar Barson, who on a 6 at half time. That's going to be the only sub, as Fifey is happy with his team. So let's see how we get on second half. A little bit of a pink start there. So Inzaghi's name mentioned. He's going to be key to them getting back into this game.
Goal.
But there's Cosmin Contra and Ricardinho. Obviously the informed man continuing. Looks like they've come right back into it, Boston, after a really good start, but only 20 minutes to go now.
I fancy them for a winner, yeah.
Yeah.
I fancy them for a winner, yeah, I do. Proper shit house, honestly.
Yeah, I guess I don't disagree with you. 10 minutes to go. It looks like it could go either way. So good, Devils, though. You see that, and now they've lost Christian Diaz. I'll say that's going to be too much of a bad thing.
Van Bronckhorst can get in there, Carney in the left wing, but
who's he got defensive midfield on the bench?
You could drop Barry Ferguson in. He likes him in there, doesn't he? But
he's gonna do Harry Kueller, don't you? Harry Kueller.
Yeah.
And then he'll put Roy Mackay on. Oh, Elisa Derby. I think Roy Mackay. Either Elisa Derby's either, so he's going on. Unless Fifey tells me I'm wrong. Don't think he will though. Kueller's left back.
Don't click it yet.
No, he's right.
Don't click it yet.
Imagine that if I did something wrong for Pfizer, he'd hate me forever.
We were gonna get.
Oh no! It's unbelievable.
Said I fancied it, That's proper Greavesy all over. Honestly, he's been doing that. He's been doing that all season. Honestly, he's been doing that all season. Credit to him. I called him at the start. I said at halftime. I said that's not. They'll be comfortable with that Boston. He's proper shit house. The Devils all over.
Yeah, he's actually has as well. You'd probably say second best overall, and getting the 90th minute winner from Pipo Inzaghi. Only one shot on target in the first half, 10 to 5 in the second half. So they definitely come into it more in the second period. Let's have a look at how their goals went in. A contra cross from the right, Ricardinho heads home. And it's Amoroso who's been so key for them all season, killed it near post, and Inzaghi heads in. Locomotive doing locomotive things. Barthez getting a 9, best keeper in the league this season. 80 across the board, really, and Ricardinho being so solid. Contra being so solid. Amoroso so solid. And Pipo Inzaghi who have probably been a little bit disappointment since coming in from Laddersford. Absolutely solid tonight, but even if they could pick up the win away at Devils with the second string defensive
Class.
partnership.
Honestly, I tip Boston to win it. They've been doing that all season, honestly, and it's every other manager knows it as well. So every other manager knows exactly how he's going to line up, but they can't do fuck all about it. And that's happened all season because he's not shy about saying he's a shit house and he's lining his team up this way. And he's been doing it all season, and he's getting results like that. And in the proper business end of the season, I just think he's got a little bit of an edge. And Bartes again playing a 9. It's not on paper. I wouldn't even fancy it myself. Like I wouldn't even think. I absolutely hate Klompe in the game for no reason at all. But on paper, he's just hats off to Greavesy. Really,
It's just
I'm gonna
working.
ask. I'm going to ask Hopkins to grow a beard for next season as well, so he can be a bit more like Greavesy.
Right, that's where the magic lies. Five Piece Devils, not a bad performance overall. Van Bronckhorst probably being the key performer, 52 attempted passes, a couple of key passes as well. They've been all over the place, but only managing an 8, and Penza getting a goal and an 8. But they needed to score another goal tonight because Locomotive do tend to grind them out. Not the best defensive performance really. No one there getting an 8, and Diaz going off with an injury.
I don't think you can be critical. I don't think you can be critical of the Devils team. I genuinely think. Let's have a look at the league table now as it stands. Obviously, we're going to come on to it, but I genuinely think it's in the hands of. Yeah, well, there you go. Top of the league.
What you can say about the Devils is that basically he was in such good form, and then last week for uncomprehendable reason he decided to put his reserves in. Reserves have got hammered. Now his first team have come back in and got beat at home. Did he really need to take that risk? Did he need to mess things up there? That's the thing that you can potentially question. But overall, I'm being this nice to 5 here. I mean, you can't fault how he's managed that team this season.
I don't think they started the strongest either. I don't think they started the strongest and then they sort of rose up and up the table. For me, I think if I was a betting man, which I definitely am, and lose loads of money week in week out on daft accumulators and other things. It's Boston's for me. How many games left? 4 games left now. They don't
4
lose games
left of the regular season, but obviously you've got the balmy playoffs to come as well.
Yeah, they don't lose games. Look, 4 games lost. Like they don't concede goals. That's the big difference. Like 28 goals because Fulchester don't really concede, but they don't score as much. So give us Bartes. Swap your Bartes for Khan. Honestly.
Quick roundup of the results tonight.
I'm gonna get my head out with Greavesy's arse as well now. I still next time we meet them, I'm still gonna chop his beard off.
Dudley Fulchester, we had the late drama there after Dudley thinking they'd won the game through John Attacker.
There's Campbell coming on. There's Campbell coming on saying Donovan for Baggio. Class.
Gazelle's absolutely hammering the Spartans loss. Haggis with that man, Bobby Baggio at the 90th minute winner to sink the Dragons. Laddersford won Bostock, injury to Exaberia and an own goal from Simeone, but Laddersford came back into it second half. Northern Burn upsetting not the Vikings, which puts them in a precarious position, and Locomotive Boston basically doing what they've done all season, as you suggested, and getting the victory there. How that has affected the table overall, I know we've looked at it. We've had a change at the top. Boston taking that first spot now, winning 12 games and only losing 4, 2 points clear. They've conceded just 1 more goal than Fulchester, but they've scored 7 more. Really ground it out there. Look around the playoffs.
Dragons.
Fancy
Dragons. You fancy Dragons to make a late run?
I don't think you can you? I think 12 points only gets you to 28. I think you're out of it, mate. Let's have a quick look at what the premium. I mean, Scott was saying he's got 3 home games left, and Gazelles have got 3 away games left, but potentially win. No, I don't know. He's got 2 really tough away games there. Yeah, I think it's still wide open, isn't it? Who do you think's involved? Do you think Haggis are involved? Do you think Spartak are involved, or do you think it's just they're in the 4th to 8th? Or
I think you've got like I think the top 4 will definitely stay in the playoff positions. So I think Sloths, Leddersford, obviously 4 wins. How did they get on again tonight? Leddersford was a draw, was it?
Leddersford drew away at Bostock, or home to Bostock, sorry.
Yeah, so they're sort of picking up points. I think the top 4 will be in the playoffs, and then I think you're looking around. I guess there's a little bit too much for them to do. I feel, particularly when they are.
I think they need to look at. If you look at their lineup, they've got Sloth, Boston, Gazelles, and Devils left, Haggis, right? And they need 3 wins against 3 of the top 4. Which is it's a very tough ask.
But Fifey could play his reserves again, couldn't he? If he
Yeah,
he could pick up. But no, I think Haggis just been a little bit too inconsistent. I mean, Ian's joined us again, and he missed the compliments that I gave him earlier for the Christmas joy that he bought. But I think a little bit too inconsistent, and I think they're not going to get them wins that you're talking about. I just so for me, it's between the Hulls, Fulchester, Gazelles, and Bostock.
Yeah. So I mean, I don't want to go off all these again, but it's looking at we thought that Fulchester potentially having a favourable run in with Churchtown and Astor at the end could be quite key.
Any banana skins for Dragons coming up? Let's have a look at little Dragons, see if they can sort of cause a few.
Every team's a banana skin.
Dudley Hill next. He's getting absolutely pumped. Yeah.
Let's have a quick look at the fixtures. I'm conscious it's an 11 o'clock on a school night.
Yeah.
Astor versus Devils. So Astor just picked up a little bit of form, but 5 people are hoping to get back to winning ways there. Scott will be hoping that's a home banker against the Churchtown, who are now pretty much out of it in the playoff race. Dragons versus Dudley Hill is the marquee matchup, isn't it? That's the big one.
It's an absolute dead rubber, isn't it?
Yeah. Macca will have been hoping that that good form, which is overtaken Northern Burn, will disappear again. Macca and Fulchester in bad form at the moment. Hulls at home for Leddersford. There's a big playoff connotations there. You'd pretty much looking at the table on that one. You think that the team that wins that puts himself in a pretty solid playoff position. So yeah, that's what both teams will be really looking at that game. Gazelles have got a really tough run in now, and then that starts away at Boston, which is no place tougher to go. And then Sloths versus Haggis. I know these two absolutely hate each other. So there's a lot of bad blood in the end, so that could be an absolute war of attrition. Yeah, looking at the time, mate, I'd like to thank you so much for an absolutely quality tonight, mate, and thanks to Duggan as well. Hope you've enjoyed being on.
Yes, yeah, brilliant. I think Dragons are looking forward to next season when I'm hoping that a couple of our players might have developed a bit of a backbone.
Yeah, and hopefully 2 of your older players, Khan and Batistuta, whatever their futures may be, hopefully that they give you a little bit more consistency than they've had this season. Thanks a lot for everyone joining us in the comms. Cheers for everyone getting involved. Thanks again to Woodett and Duggan. Duggan in the chat there. Cheers, Ryan. That's interesting. But thanks a lot, mate. And I hope and I think that the chairman is back on Sunday with Fifey. So I shall see you all then. Cheers, gents.